New Orleans, 1918. Jazz filled the air, but something sinister lurked in the shadows. The French Quarter, with its vibrant life, became a place of fear. Someone was stalking the night. People called him the Axeman. The city was already on edge. World War I raged across the ocean. Now, a different kind of terror gripped the city. Residents feared what darkness would bring. The police were baffled. Who was the Axeman, and what did he want? May 23, 1918. It was a quiet night in New Orleans, the kind of night where the city seemed to hold its breath. The air was thick with humidity, and the streets were eerily silent. Joseph Maggio, a grocer, slept soundly beside his wife Catherine. They had no idea that their lives were about to change forever. A noise awoke him. It was faint but persistent, like a whisper in the dark. He got out of bed to investigate, thinking it might be a stray animal or a loose shutter. He never found the source of the sound. Instead, he found the Axeman, a shadowy figure lurking in the doorway, holding an axe that glinted menacingly in the dim light. Catherine awoke to a chilling thud and her husband's screams. Her heart raced as she tried to make sense of the chaos around her. She rushed to help him, her mind filled with dread. The sight that greeted her was horrific, something out of a nightmare. Joseph lay in a pool of blood. His head was almost severed, a gruesome testament to the brutality of the attack. Catherine, too, was attacked. She barely survived, her body and spirit scarred by the ordeal. The Axeman had left his mark. This was no ordinary burglar. The weapon he used and the ferocity of the attack spoke of something far more sinister. This was something far more sinister. The Axeman would go on to become one of the most feared figures in New Orleans history, a specter of terror that haunted the city for years to come. The Axeman didn't stop with the Maggios. His brutal spree continued, leaving a trail of blood and fear in his wake. Each attack was more gruesome than the last, sending shockwaves through the community. His reign of terror continued. The newspapers were filled with horrifying accounts of his crimes, and the public's anxiety grew with each passing day. He always targeted Italian grocers. These small business owners were the backbone of their communities, and their murders left a void that was deeply felt. He used an axe, always aiming for the head. The brutality of his method was shocking, and it left a lasting impression on everyone who heard about it. The city was on high alert. People were terrified. They locked their doors and windows, fearing that they might be the next victims of this relentless killer. The police worked tirelessly. They followed every lead, no matter how small, hoping to catch the Axeman before he could strike again. But their efforts seemed in vain. But the Axeman was always one step ahead. He moved through the shadows, evading capture and leaving the city in a state of constant dread. Theories spread like wildfire. Was it a deranged lunatic? People speculated endlessly, trying to make sense of the senseless violence. A scorned lover? Or something even more sinister? The mystery only deepened as the attacks continued, and the fear grew. Fear permeated the city as thick as the humid New Orleans air. The Axeman's presence was felt everywhere, and no one knew when or where he would strike next. Then, the Axeman did something unexpected. In a move that shocked the entire city, he reached out directly to the public. He sent a letter to the newspaper, a chilling message that would be printed for all to see. In this letter, he claimed responsibility for the brutal murders that had terrorized the city. He promised more to come, instilling fear and uncertainty in the hearts of the residents. But there was a catch, a sinister twist that no one saw coming. He offered a chilling deal, one that would force the city to make a choice. The Axeman declared his love for jazz music, an unexpected passion for such a ruthless killer. He promised to spare any house where jazz was playing, a bizarre and terrifying ultimatum. On the night of March 19, 1919, every venue in New Orleans was packed with people. Jazz music filled the streets, a desperate plea for mercy from a city gripped by fear. The city held its breath, waiting to see if the Axeman would keep